It worked. All right. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lethal. This is the Quantum Degenerates podcast, brought to you by the Quantum Degenerates, of course. Today I got my boy Diego. I don't know if that's what he
Yo.
wants to go by today or something else.
Yeah, it's cool. Diego, Tiger Muffin, if you play games with me and stuff.
Nobody calls you
Uh,
that, so.
yeah, I was about to say it'd actually be weird.
Hey,
That
Tiger.
that's
Hey,
that's so
Tiger.
funny. We had that conversation the other day with some other friends, and it's like, yeah, you don't really like talk to you call people by their like online name. It'd just be weird. Be like, oh, what's up, Lethal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that's exactly what you guys do to me.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit different for you though,
Oh,
because
is it?
it is actually. Because I mean, you're lethal.
Okay.
Like people were telling me like I'd go up to people and like, yo, where's Lethal? And they're like, who? And it's like, let me pull out my phone and pull out my contact list to see what his actual
Yes.
name is.
Yes. El Rafael.
Yeah.
El Chapo. Nah.
The man, the myth,
Yeah.
the legend. Nah, that is cool.
Psych. No, yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, we don't talk to anyone in our friends group by like we don't refer to anyone in our friends group according to their
No,
gamer tags.
but that's because we're like friends. Like
Ah,
it
there it
I was having a
is.
yeah, I was having
There
a
it
really good
is.
conversation where like apparently in like the in the con world, like the convention, like Katsucon, Otakon, Comic Con, all that, people refer to each other by their like online handles,
Mm-hmm.
and but then there's like also so much drama and stuff, and it's just like y'all don't even know each other's real names. How can you have drama?
How can you have this kind of drama? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
wild.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah, but sorry, I didn't mean to take us down another rabbit hole.
No, you're good. That's what this is about. It doesn't have to be specific topics. Like if we start talking about one thing, it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
cool,
We're
cool.
not. We're not. Who do they have? That's all professional. I don't know.
I don't know. Every other podcast
Is
on
it? Are they?
Spotify.
I don't feel like they are. I feel so.
Nah.
I just want to like anytime I have someone on, I just want it to be like natural and like we're just
Mm-hmm.
friends talking.
Oh, okay.
That's why
Okay.
I had to
Yeah.
have Brandon on the first one, so it was super comfy.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Got our Kirumis on and just talking nonsense.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So, takeaway from this short little conversation was, everyone refers to me as lethal because they're not really my friends and they talk to each other using their real names because they're friends. Okay, got it.
Yep. That's pretty much it.
Oh man, anytime I get invited to somewhere, it's gonna be awkward now because I know the truth. Just these guys aren't really my friends. Ugh.
Yeah. That's good old Lethal. Every time you come around, it's like, oh, here comes Lethal, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
This is my friend Lethal.
yeah.
But I guess now to make it less awkward, I'll just be like, oh yeah, this is my associate Lethal. You know
Oh,
what
okay. Yeah, at least it'll be you're being honest up front. Jesus.
No, but you know what though? I feel like in person, I actually just call you Raph though.
Yeah, I think you do. I think you're the only one that
Yeah,
makes that effort too. Because
yeah, I just call you Raph because it's like I don't know. To me, it's like a little bit of cringe behind using online handles in person.
yeah. Plus, I never actually requested for anyone to call me lethal in person.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like Brandon, when he introduced me to his mom, was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
this is my friend Lethal," and now she calls me Lethal instead of like Raphael or Ralph or Raph or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah,
"You got this
that's
grown
actually
woman
hilarious.
calling me Lethal, bro."
Yep.
Yeah, savage. All right, so let's see. What should we start with as far as like our actual topic? Because the first thing I wrote down is how to answer phone, and I don't think that's what we need to start with.
Right. Well, we probably should just start with like what the whole conversation is going to be about today, and that's jobs. Um,
Yeah.
whether it's career related, whether it's just a job to pay the rent, just jobs in general, and kind of like the process of getting jobs and keeping them, getting new jobs, all of that. And I guess between you and I, we've got different experiences, different backgrounds, and everything. So just kind of going off of that would probably be a pretty good start.
Yeah, I just figured out why your camera randomly freezes. I cannot tab out of your camera feed, otherwise it'll
Oh,
freeze. That's kind of
gotcha. That's
it's a,
kind of cooked, but
it's
you
a
could
bit
turn me
silly.
off if you need to.
No,
But
you're good. I mean, I think I have everything I need on the recording thing here. If anybody
okay.
types, I can see them. I think the only thing is like notifications aren't on, but that's okay. We don't need those on
Hmm.
for the podcast. But yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you know what? Okay, I'll start with this. So supposedly there's a big demand for workers right now because we just
Hmm.
had the great, what was it called? The great resigning.
Oh, yeah. The
The
Great Resigning. That's what they dubbed it.
yeah.
The Great
So
Resigning.
so you know, I recently started working on getting some certs. I got a couple classes scheduled for April. Yo, that's crazy. Actually, I have one. What? Well, I guess it's a boot camp, but I have one class scheduled like 1 week of April, and then I get like a week to get those two certs or that one cert, and then I got
Yeah.
the next class. So
Woo.
hopefully, I mean, the way anyone that's done it talks about it is that I did the harder one first. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how Linux is gonna be, but um,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
do A
dude, that's what.
plus.
That's funny, dude. I actually meant to send you something. So an old project manager that I used to work with up in Virginia, uh, he just made a post on LinkedIn saying he's looking for anyone with Linux experience, and I was like, "Yo, come back in like a month."
Oh, yo, my
Yeah,
boy
man.
has it.
Yeah, but yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man. That Linux is like just such like a niche group, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna be awesome. And what else? Which other one are you going for?
A plus and Network plus, just because.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Why not? It's technically free, and then I'll probably do
Yeah.
CCNA later.
Oh yeah, dude, that's gonna put you in a good spot, like cert wise, for
Yeah,
sure.
someone was there's someone I watch on YouTube. It's called IT Careers and Questions. He was saying
Hmm.
how like on if you have Network Plus, there's like 1,600 job listings when he searched it. Like they're live, and then
Hmm.
when he searched for like CCNA required ones, it was like 16,000. So
Gee.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
but
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. Once you get those under your belt, start getting
yeah,
your resume together and everything, like that'll be pretty sweet.
yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
That
cool.
Linux one, dude, I'm telling you, man, I'm like super excited for you to get the Linux one because I think like when you get that Linux one, I think that's just gonna skyrocket.
It's gonna blow my
Like
phone up.
I think that's gonna blow your phone up, man.
That'd be cool.
Seriously.
That'd be cool, man. If I could go from like, please, bro, just like, yeah, I'll take whatever you want to like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I got a request from someone else yesterday. They're offering me this much. You know, I don't know if you guys can afford that in your budget.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility with like the Linux stuff. Yeah, because I'm
yeah.
telling you, man, and like my like, I guess it's only been like 10 or so years now in like IT,
Wow,
and with that, dude, I'm telling you, I've come across like maybe two or three people who are like actually certified in Linux. Like
wow.
usually the Linux servers fall to the already they'll fall to the system administrator, and the system administrator would be like, yeah, anytime there's an issue with a Linux server, we just go ahead and blow it away and build a new one. And it's just like you don't have to do all that. That causes
Wow.
a whole lot of other problems
They,
doing that.
they say, yo,
But
turn it off and turn it back on.
yeah, but that's because like no one has the skill to actually solution Linux servers. And
Yeah. Well, apparently there's like 50 different Linux like
yeah,
versions you
that
can
whole world
use,
is
which is
yeah,
nuts.
that whole world is like I said, I don't know any Linux. Like I had a laptop that I installed Linux on
Hmm.
years and years ago, just to kind of mess around with.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I couldn't. Today, like you put Linux in front of me, I'd be like, "Wow, this is real nice." Put it in the garbage.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, with the whole great need for workers, hold on, hold on.
Hmm.
Mad annoying, bro. I'm trying to talk to one of the twins, and this other one of their friends is just answering for him the whole time. I had to be like, "Hey, I'm talking to Rasul. Thank you." Like, bro, it's
Really, like
crazy.
school friends or something.
Yeah, they're like school friends. I don't know, but can't stand. All right, not on the podcast. Not on the podcast. I'll just save it for another time. Just can't deal with other people in general.
Yeah.
This is why you can't get a job, bro. But anyway, we got all this demand for workers supposedly.
Yeah.
But all these companies, the only time they hit me back up is to tell me they're not going with me. They're going with someone else. This and that. And I'm like, wow. Guess there's not that much need for workers, or it's probably just a different what's it called? A different fields and stuff. There's probably a lot of people trying to get into IT right now because of the
Yeah.
remote option. But
Yeah. Is that so? Like right now, so I think like one of the biggest pushes behind the Great Resignation, uh, was, obviously one, it was COVID. Like COVID had a really big push, but it wasn't COVID happening. It was companies' reactions to COVID and companies like new COVID policies and things like that that really like kind of
caused
opened
it.
people's eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
I
like I
think
think
with
a
like
lot of it is just like opening eyes and it's like, holy crap, like my company is treating me like shit. And meanwhile, I got a friend who's working from home and nothing's changed for them. Like they're still working, no drama or anything. Like,
yeah, and
you know,
aside from like, I guess restaurant jobs, right, would be one
hmm
where it's like you kind of have to go into work. You can't just take someone's order from home.
yeah,
But I think most office jobs like what you do, what my mom does, which is I don't know exactly what she does. I know she works for stockbrokers and she like manages
hmm
their clients and their portfolios and keeps them all up to date on what's going on with their stuff.
yeah,
She don't need to be in no office to do that. She could do all that from home, and that's what she's been doing this
yeah,
whole time. And then there's like other people, pretty much like the other side of that spectrum is like instead of keeping your job, like my father just got like straight up laid off.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he had to find something new to do, and he's currently a translator, like a phone translator for people.
hmm
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah. My father got laid off too. Yeah, he's a chef, so and he's a
dang,
chef for like a government building. So naturally, the government sent everybody home. So,
right.
but he's a contractor, so he you know pretty much it's like a soft layoff where like yeah, you're not getting any health insurance, you're not getting paid, but you still kind of work for us once all of this is over. And meanwhile, the mortgage doesn't stop, the car notes don't stop,
People
the
still gotta eat.
utilities don't stop, people still have to eat. um so like it was kind of rough. Like my parents got really lucky because they paid the house off just a couple years ago, right before COVID hit.
Hmm.
But still, like it's pretty ridiculous. But like my dad, he's finally working again,
Hmm.
and he's working for the same company, but now he's working in a different office. But that like those are those jobs where it's like, yeah, you kind of you're cooked. You like, no pun
Yeah,
intended. Like you're kind of cooked if something like this
yeah,
happens. You know?
yeah. I mean, yeah, that sucks. It's so bad because I know like specifically waiters and waitresses, and then down that line of work, like they're bus boys that help them out. They don't make a
Hmm.
lot of money, bro. Like,
They already don't make a lot of money. That's
yeah,
the thing where it's like, all these restaurants are like, oh, no one wants to work anymore. No one wants to work. And it's like, well,
no one wants
yeah,
to work for you, bro.
no one wants to
Like,
work for you. Dude, I had a like all hands call at work, and
hmm
I work so I'm a software developer, but my company focuses on developing software for HR, like human resources for companies. And we had a spokesperson, I don't remember his name, but he came on and he was just like, "Yeah, man, there's a lot of crappy companies out there, and they hire us thinking that we're gonna help their company run smoother and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not a system problem; it's a policy
it's a
and people
policy.
problem. You know?
Whoa, we ain't ready for that conversation.
Yeah, yeah, I
Let's
know. I was
pump
about
the
to
brakes
say,
on that, bro. You about to get us
yeah.
canceled.
Yeah, nah.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, I think like so like oh, just with a little bit on my background, just working from home the past pretty much the past year, and being able to like luckily not go without a paycheck or anything like that during COVID. Like it just to me it just makes sense. Like my company has an office that like I think like the CEO goes to every once in a while because it's across the street from his house. Like,
he
and
just
then
goes
when
to
I
the
say
hip desk.
office, right, and when I say office, I'm talking like maybe like it has like a small little conference room and like maybe one little office space and
Nice.
like a lobby. Like that's it. There's no need for this huge high rise for like an entire floor on a high rise in the middle of DC. That
Which,
costs millions of dollars probably just to keep
yep.
the lights on. There's just
hmm
no need for it. And then when you factor in all of that and you take all of that price out, now you can actually afford to pay your employees like a living wage.
Yeah. Oh, God forbid. Yeah, I think some companies just aren't seeing that like I guess advantage to not having to have people in the office.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm really not sure what it is. Maybe it's like it's the fact that some of these companies are run by like older people, so their mentality is like, well, if I'm not here to watch you work, how do I know you're working? And it's like,
Yeah.
have I not been doing my job like from home this whole time? Like you still
Yeah,
need me to
it's
work.
unfortunate. It is pretty unfortunate because like there's a lot of I mean there's just see it every day, and like I remember when I was a system administrator, my job was literally to build virtual machines so the other employees could remote in.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remote in. I had to be on site to
Dang.
do work and stuff. And it's just like it was really funny because I remember like, oh yeah, I'm remoting in so that they can remote in.
hmm
I'm remoting in to build things. I'm remoting in to do testing, things like that. But it was just things like that where it's just kind of like this doesn't even make sense. Like why am I
Why am I
doing all
here?
of this? Yeah, why are we here? And I understand the purpose of the office every once in a while. Like it's cool to like have human interaction. It's cool to like have a meeting here and there. But
hmm
like Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, or not even 8 hours a day. It's most of the time it's like 9 or 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, I'm
For
gonna watch
what?
YouTube at home and I'm gonna watch YouTube at work. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it's at this point you're just wasting my gas.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's like a such a weird topic because
Yeah.
like why wouldn't you like the when I think about it, it's like you said like it costs less money because it's not costing no boss any money for me to have this whole setup here, and this setup can do pretty much anything that you would want like your
Yep.
system admin to do, your network admin to do probably,
Yep.
and more. Like
Yeah.
I could just stream while I'm working and not have any hiccups
Yeah.
while I'm
And
working.
then the other thing too is you know, if you're a cloud-based company, even more reason. I mean, like I understand if you're like if you're hosting servers, you're hosting it's like yeah, obviously you're gonna need a space for that. But
Mm-hmm.
like if you're a completely cloud-based company, like bro, why do you have an office? Like honestly,
Yeah.
why do you have an office? If you're concerned about security, there's methods to go about that,
Yeah.
have a VPN created,
Yeah.
have all your employees log in through a VPN,
Have time.
um,
What's it called? Yeah, like what's I forgot what
automatic
security name.
logouts.
Yeah, automatic
Yeah, it's
logouts. The thing, the one where you have to be like, you have to be in the East Coast, right? For example, to be able to log
yep,
in. If I'm in like Colorado right now, I can't log into work because they're like, you're not within the
you're
region
not
that we
within
need you to
the
be
right.
in.
Yep.
After 9 p.m., you can't log in, like stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and
All
it's
that.
it's it's pretty crazy, man. And like I guess just to kind of circle back to one of the topics that we wanted to talk about. So like whenever like I've in the probably in my past 4 or 5 interviews I've done, whether it's over
Mm-hmm.
the phone or like over Zoom or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
one of my questions is always what was the company's response to COVID? What policies changed? What basically what changed? What did you do to react to COVID? Because
Mm-hmm.
uh, there were 2 companies that I applied for, and they gave me kind of like a textbook answer, and I could kind of tell like, so you didn't do anything. Um,
Yeah.
so like there's one like the company that I was currently working at, they came straight out. They sent an email out directly to all the employees and said, "Hey, this you can't plan for anything like this. Like we are going day by day. We're trying. That's enough. To me, like that's enough. It's
Well,
like at
they
least
were
they're wrapping.
transparent with you.
Yeah, at least
Instead
they're
of
wrapping like we understand like okay, we're kind of all in this together. Like this is new, unexplored territory for us. Like we're gonna
yeah,
get through it.
yeah, I
But
think that honestly goes a long way. Like,
yeah,
hey, I don't really know what I'm doing, so you know, be ready for anything, as opposed to coming up with nonsense and trying to act like you know what you're talking about. Oh, well, you guys
yeah,
should still be coming into work because this, and
hmm
that, and nobody knows anything. And oh man, all of a sudden your whole workforce has COVID and nobody can come into work. Good job, bro.
exactly. Yep.
Oh, I thought you knew what you were
And
doing.
yeah, it's something, man. And like the work that I currently do, I've been building a lot of like COVID trackers, COVID vaccine trackers, case trackers, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeing a lot of this stuff in real life. Like I'm seeing these real numbers that like I mean, I watched a county, an entire county just get I mean, destroyed. The numbers just kept growing. I'm over here, just like building, like developing, and then testing.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I see the numbers from the
Oh
results, and
man,
I'm like, holy crap! Like, just 2 days ago, it's doubled.
yeah.
Um, so like you can tell where like there is no plan, and like it's okay if there's no plan, but like you can also tell where like something's just being run poorly.
Yeah.
And like I know we had one client, they were pretty much like, hey, look, we've got to take a pause for the next 2 to 3 weeks because we don't have any employees to help with this
Dang.
project. Yeah, it's just like holy crap, like it went from everything was moving great, everything's going awesome, we're getting a lot done to we've got a hard stop for 3 weeks because they don't have anybody
Yeah.
left.
That's
Cooked,
kind of
bro.
nutty. Yeah, that's cooked.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess we could start with how do you answer your phone? How do you answer your phone when people call you? Just in general.
So if well, in general, like I've gotten to the habit, I answer the phone the same way for everyone, unless like I know who it is.
Yeah.
But if it's an unknown number, I always assume it's a recruiter or something,
Okay.
or some other bull bit. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, so normally I will literally just answer. hello, this is first name, last name,
Oh,
and that's it. Like
wow.
no, yeah, that is straight up because
You got me
I
beat
don't know.
already.
I've dealt with so many like recruiters and stuff, and it's just like it's always the same. It's always the same like script almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I just give them my first and last name, and from there it's the it goes as normal. Usually, if it's a recruiter, they'll usually say explain like what the offer is. So they'll
Mm-hmm.
say like, yeah, this is so and so with blah 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 consulting. We got this ServiceNow position and it's fully remote. They lead with that now, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the new thing. They lead with that now. It's fully remote. It's got this. It's do 401k, all that,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the very end they'll ask, "Oh, are you in the market?"
Yeah.
And usually I'll tell them like, no, I'm not. Like I just started a project not too long ago, and it's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next thing they go to is, oh, okay, do you have any friends or colleagues that might be looking for a position?
Yeah.
And that shows you right there, like whenever it's a recruiter calling you, like if they aren't like if they aren't the actual employer, but if they're a recruiter trying to recruit for like a different company or something, they're just looking for bodies.
Yeah.
They At the end of the day, they skimmed your resume for a
Mm-hmm.
couple keywords, passed their little test. They don't know what actual work you do.
Ah, the classic.
And yeah, they don't know the work that you do most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't know the work you do. Their job is literally to put a butt in a seat for a different company, and then they get paid off of that. They probably get commissions.
Commission or
They probably
something.
get hmm
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate because that's how you do end up with like a lot of like unqualified people in positions. But then at the same
Put
time,
me in.
like
Put me in.
fuck it. Yeah,
Put
yeah,
me in,
yeah. That's what I'm
coach.
saying. At the
I
same
don't know
time,
nothing. Put me in the seat.
yeah, yeah.
I'll
My
learn.
bad,
I'll
man.
learn faster than most. No, you're
Yeah,
good. You're good.
but
I mean, that's what we want. That's what I want.
yeah, dude. It's
It's for you to
it's
talk.
you know it's just one of those things where it's like I I've worked with so many different types of people, like people who are super overqualified to people who are underqualified,
Mm-hmm.
and it's simply because of recruiting. Like people slip through the cracks,
Mm-hmm.
or I interviewed one guy once who he had to have been in his sixth. This is probably the smartest man I ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'd been doing IT since well before I was born, and you too. And I interviewed him for a help desk position. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was replacing me because I was the new system administrator, so he was going to be the help desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my boss, I was like, he clearly could do the job easily in his sleep. Like he could do it.
Yeah.
But then my manager was like, "Well, don't you think he's like a too overqualified for it?" And I was like, "He's super overqualified for it." Um, so then I left the decision up to them, and ultimately they didn't hire him. But
Wow.
yeah, and it's just like, why didn't you hire him? I mean, it sounds like he just wants a job. Like he's probably just bored at home
He
and just
would
wants a
have.
job.
Yeah, he would have probably took whatever they offered him. And it's
Yeah. Oh,
and
I'm sure.
that's so weird to me. Why would you like if I'm someone hiring people? I guess they were worried he would want to ask for too much money for the position. Is the only thing I could think
Maybe.
of. But
Yeah, maybe.
from a boss, like from the perspective of me wanting my team to run as effectively as possible. Oh, I got someone
Yes.
overqualified for it. I got someone that
That
like
that
my
wants to do the work.
sysadmin. Yeah, my sysadmin can be like, oh, I'm kind of stuck. Oh, you know what? So and so, he's got this and this. Let me go talk to him. And now
Yep.
he can help out my sysadmin because he knows so much. And then eventually, when my sysadmin's leaving, I already got the replacement that I
You
don't need to
already
look
have
for.
someone.
Come
Yep.
on, like
Yeah.
that's a no brainer. But
Dude, it's funny, man. It really is funny. It's just
I don't know.
that's how some of these companies operate, man.
Yeah. So like back to the phone, and then there's something else I wanted to touch on that you said.
Hmm.
Yeah, when I answer the phone, I get so many scam callers, man, that I'm just like, "Hello, what do you want? Who is this? Hold on a second, someone's knocking
Yeah.
on my door."
Hmm.
Bro, people's kids, other people's children. Od just knocked on the door to knock on my door. What a
Yes.
savage. What a. So anyway, yeah, I just answered the door like, "What do you want, man? Like, who are you?" And I'm
Hmm.
kind of having to get like reel that in because
Yeah.
it's not too much. I've had maybe 3 to 4 recruiters call me, and yeah, I realize I'm pretty abrasive even as it is without purposely being abrasive. So
Yeah.
I'm slowly trying to change the way that I answer the phone. But that's a good one. I guess I'll just have to answer the way you do.
Yeah. Just first, last name. How are you? Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just straight to
yeah.
the point, man. Because there, there's a small handful of recruiters that will call me and actually have a conversation with. Will
Mm-hmm.
like that I know, like I have them on LinkedIn and stuff, and like they're actual like they're not just trying to put a body in a seat. They're actually trying to find a really good position for you
Yeah,
because it's just like they're actually just good at their job and they like their job.
yeah. So back to you saying how like some recruiters are just trying to like fill seats in. How does
Yeah.
that work? Do you still do like? Do you not still have to speak to a hiring manager after the recruiter talks to you?
Yeah, so you do. It Yeah, just about every position. The recruiter's job is pretty much to get like a pool of
Mm-hmm.
people to the actual employer. So like at the end of the day, you still have to do a real interview. And I say real interview, but it's like some recruiter companies will actually bring you in to meet with the actual recruiting company first,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll kind of give you the down low on the employer. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be interviewing with so and so, and they really like this. They're probably gonna ask you some questions like this and like that. So to make sure you just come prepared." And those are the recruiters where it's like, okay, they've done a little bit more research. Like they actually know what the employer
What
is
the
looking
employer is
for.
looking for? Yeah.
Um, and then from there, when you actually do interview with the employer, to me, that's when I've got to be a little bit more on my P's and Q's, and I've got to be like,
Yeah.
okay, they could throw some actual technical questions at me and know if I'm bullshitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, because there's been a couple times where like and I think my past like 3 interviews,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's always been with a hiring manager and then a hiring manager, a technical lead, and then like maybe like an HR administrator or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, like they will just go down the line. The tech, the tech one will ask you the tech questions. The HR one will ask you like generic, like making questions just to make sure you're like a decent person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the hiring manager usually talks like company morale, company experience. They kind of paint the picture for you for like what you're about to get into and whatnot.
Yeah. I see. I see. So since we're already talking about interviews, how like what do you do to? Well, first of all, we're gonna split this into two. It's gonna be like the speaking to the actual recruiter interview, right? Because that's technically an interview that you have to
Hmm.
kind of pass, and then it's like the hiring manager's interview, and how like I think I'm pretty social. I think over the phone it
Hmm.
doesn't. Over the phone I kind of get cooked because I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah, mm-hmm, this and that. So you can't really tell that like I'm on the phone like like actually on the edge of
Yeah.
my seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in person, I've never had an interview where someone didn't like me. Like,
Right.
even when I was
Yeah.
like
And that's
17, 18, fresh into the world, or like fresh into the adult world, like,
yeah.
I've always had the comments of like, you seem really chill. You seem like someone we would want at our company. You like, I don't know. Like, it just, if, I don't want to say stupid because it's not that you're stupid, but it's like the way you carry yourself when you're speaking to someone like goes a long way, and that's like not just like, oh yes sir, no sir, like It's also the way
Yeah.
you answer questions, like your walk, right? Like
Mhm.
your handshake. It's like everything.
Eye contact, all of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Eye
Yeah,
contact. Don't be
it's
looking at the ground. Like,
mhm.
yeah, it's weird or not weird, but
Yeah, it's
just
pretty interesting. And it's even weirder now that we're in this age where, and I mean, well, I'm not even in this age, but you're in the field of trying to get a remote job. So it's a
yeah.
possibility you might never meet anyone from your company in real life.
Wow, that would be nice.
And
Don't got to deal with
oh yeah, wouldn't it? Oh my
nobody.
gosh, man, tell me about it, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be sweet. But yeah, so it's there's like little things where it's like I'm still catching up on a little bit. I'm starting to notice more like with more
Mhm.
Zoom meetings and things like that. Like, there's things are a little bit different than if I were to interview in person.
Yeah.
But just to kind of like circle back, I know like when I'm on the phone,
Hmm.
I I pull out the cheese, man. I pull out the cheese. I sound extra motivated. I
Hmm.
sound super excited. Um, I'm a cheese ball, man. I honestly,
Well,
because
you have to
it's
be.
a game. You have to play
Yeah.
the game, right?
Yeah.
So with the recruiters, I'll do it because I want them. At the end of the day, I tell most of the recruiters that call me, even if I'm already working, I tell them to keep my information, shoot me an email,
Hmm.
because I know anything could happen and I could need a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, so I always want to leave like an impression like, oh, that guy was like, he was pumped and like ready for anything.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's just kind of how I am on the phone.
Hmm.
And then I just keep that energy going through each interview. So like if I'm interviewing with the actual employer, you know, their some of their favorite interview questions are, tell us about a time. Oh, actually,
Tell us about
just to circle
yourself.
back, that's kind of one of the key differences, like a recruiter interview versus an employer interview. And that's if the recruiter even interviews you, or like if the
Hmm.
recruiting company even interviews you. Some of the bigger companies that are known for recruiting will,
Hmm.
but most of the time they'll just put you straight to their employer. But most of the time the recruiting company will just ask you kind of broad questions like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, you've worked in an office before? Yes, no. Okay, you've worked on projects that are longer than 2, 3 months? Yes, no. Have you worked on projects that have not been completely successful? Yes, no, things like that. But then your employer interview, they will actually ask you for like specific times and like specific experiences.
Mm.
So, one of the questions they always ask you is, tell us about a time where you, for lack of better words, where you messed something up, right?
Hmm.
So I always default to a story where I accidentally deleted all of the users in a system, like everything. It was gone. Like for an entire company, I deleted everything. And I told him like, yeah, on the inside, like I was freaking out a little bit, but I kept my composure. I found out who I needed to contact, got in contact with them.
Hmm.
I was able to go through the deletion logs and um, undelete, pretty much undelete everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Control Z everything.
yeah, essentially, but that's just an example of like when you get on with that employer,
Hmm.
they will start to ask you some of those like deeper questions, and they're not looking for like, they're not looking for like, oh man, this guy is the greatest guy in the world. Oh my gosh,
Right.
he's never had any issues, or he's never done anything that he regrets. Or I mean, I just go in trying to be as honest as I can about my experiences.
Yeah.
And
That's what I was gonna say.
I
Is
mean,
I
I've
think that
had luck with
question.
that.
Yeah, that question seems like it's more a question of like trying to see how you deal with a mistake. Like if you're gonna have integrity
Mhm.
about it and like own up to it and take responsibility and do what you can to fix it, or if you're gonna be
Yeah.
essentially a scumbag and just not say anything. Which
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like in IT you can't even do that because
It's
even
hard to do it, man.
if you hadn't said anything, if they audited like all the actions on that server, they were gonna be like, oh, all right,
Yeah.
DD just went in there and deleted everything. Hey, bro, what
Yep.
happened? You know, and then if you're trying to lie about it, you're gonna get roasted.
You're
So
cooked.
yeah,
Cooked. Yeah, and that's funny because I just had something like that come up recently where like, but it was a little different. We were working on something and one of the a part of a form wasn't working right, and we're like, oh, what the heck? What the heck? We can't figure it out. And then come to find out that it was an old employee at the company that
Mm-hmm.
had made this change that affects everything. Like every single form they have, it affects it on like a tape down to a table level. And that's one of those things where it's like they had no idea what was going on until they hired us to come in and like build some things for them.
Mm-hmm.
And this employee had done that 5 or 6 years ago, and they no longer work there. So it's
Wow.
like, dang, we can't even like yell at anyone but ourselves because we didn't do our due diligence.
You didn't catch it for 5 full
Hmm.
years. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. But I mean, that kind of like actually leads into another topic though, where it's like job hunting versus having a job, or
Yeah.
job hunting without a job versus job hunting with a job. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can get up here and talk about interviewing all the time, but when you're interviewing, it's a lot less stressful when I know I already have a job versus not having a job.
Yeah, when you're like, you know what, I don't need this.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's not
So
the end of the world if I don't ace an interview, if I don't get a job, because at the end of the day, I still have a job.
yeah. So I guess well we'll start with like just regular job hunting. How you kind of go about it. Um, Dang, we kind of already low key covered it though. Like how you go about
Yeah,
speaking to them. You know.
yeah, I mean that's really it. I mean, I guess you're right. It's just kind of like nothing really changes between the two. Like I'm gonna interview the same probably each way. There might be a little bit more desperation if I didn't have a
Yeah.
job,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say
I,
that's the difference. The difference is like
yeah, I could
I'm
see
working.
that
I'm
happening.
not pressed. You want to know what I can
Right.
do? I could do this, this, and this. Oh, you're offering this much. I'm kind of happy where I'm at. Or
Yeah.
if the pay upgrade is just ridiculous, then
Yeah, if
you're
the
probably
pay,
like,
yeah, definitely.
oh, well, I might consider that.
Hmm.
But yeah, as far as like when you're just like like I said, in person, I've never had any complaints. As far as these phone interviews, man, I've talked to a few recruiters, and I've only
Hmm.
gotten put on with one hiring manager, and it was kind of impossible to get a word in edgewise,
Uh,
because he just
they
was
just
like he
talked.
just was going, and I was like, okay, and he's like, oh, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Like before we even said anything, he's like, so tell me a little bit about yourself, not job related, and I was like, I don't know, man. What like I guess I like to play video games. I like sports. Well, I like playing softball,
Hmm.
and I like going to the gym. And like, what kind of question? Like, I feel like that was low
Yeah.
key a question to see if I could advertise myself without speaking about job things. So I should have been like,
Hmm.
I'm a pretty loyal guy. I really value honesty in other people. This and that. That probably would have been better than to talk about what I actually like to do.
Right.
But yeah, after that he just talked. He just talked about a bunch of stuff that I have no idea. And then it was weird because with that interview, I even told the recruiter, I was like, listen, like I'm kind of just trying to break into this like career field slash industry. I don't have experience in it, and I still somehow got put on with the hiring manager. And I was like, well, you saw my resume. I don't exactly have a lot of experience. Like I just got
Right.
certified, but I'm looking um, to get into it. He's like, all right, well, I see on your resume it says you want to make the most out of every opportunity that you have. What does that mean to you? And I was like, it means what it says. Like I was almost stumped, and I was just like, well, it means like when someone else is gonna where you introduce someone to like a new aspect of their job, most people will probably be like, well, I don't know how to do this. I will be like, all right, how can I go about learning this the best way possible?
Right.
Because
Let's figure it
obviously,
out.
yeah, let's figure this out. And I mean, you can trust that I'm gonna use every resource I can, including coming to you if I have uh,
Yeah.
to figure it out and learn from that new experience. So because I mean, I'm putting that down on my resume as soon as I learn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
And then
definitely.
that was it. And he was like, "All right, well, we're gonna go with someone else, you know, because we're looking for this and that right now. But in March, you know, we have an internship that we're gonna be doing. Hopefully, you won't need it, but we'll uh, we'll contact you for that." And I was like, "Okay." I feel like
Yeah,
you should have led with that instead of
right.
not only wasting 30 minutes of my time because I had to wait half an hour for you to call me, even though you said you would call 30 minutes ago. Then you wasted another 30 minutes of my time. Just and it just I don't know. It kind of felt like he already had made up his mind, and he was just doing the due diligence of like,
Yeah.
you know, when you have to
Sometimes it's
speak to
like that.
someone. Yeah, so I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, cool. And then I sent him and the recruiter an email. I was like, you know, thanks for speaking to me, this and that. Which I think is important. Like, is important. I don't know, as someone who's still in the like the this I guess civilian job world. What your take on this is, but like I was always taught that after I speak to you, say you and I just had an interview, I'll maybe the next day or like an hour later or something, just write to you like, hey, just wanted to touch base with you. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. Uh, you know, please keep my contact information for any
Yep.
other opportunities you might have, this and that. And I sent that email, and I just never heard back from either of them. So I was like, I
Hmm.
don't like. Just
Yeah.
was
No,
scratching my
but
head.
that's, dude, that's really good. I can tell you, like, I do that at work all the time. When I meet someone for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
there's always a follow-up email. There's always
Mm-hmm.
even if there doesn't need to be any more communication, it's like, hey, thanks for taking the time to speak. Look forward to any future work we do, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah, and done. Um, yeah, yeah, that's you'll probably get more of that, honestly. That's how a lot of it goes, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just it goes back to what we were saying earlier, where some recruiters are just trying to get people in seats,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have these employers who know that too.
Yeah.
So these employers, they know, like, they'll look at your resume and they'll look at it and they'll say, "Oh, right off the bat, this guy doesn't have enough experience for what we want, but
Right.
let's talk to him."
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, sometimes it works out. Sometimes they still end up hiring you. Because I know I've been hired for positions where it's just kind of like, dang, I got the job. Whoa. Um,
Yeah.
but then yeah, I guess it's like a 50-50 type thing. But I know one of the questions. So for my current job, my CEO asked me a question, and
Mm-hmm.
I almost got tripped up. But I had already gotten a job, and he was like, "Yeah, don't worry, this isn't gonna make or break anything. It's just a question I ask every employee." And he asked me just a simple question of like, "What do you like to do when you're not working?"
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple question. And I told him, I was like, "Oh yeah, like I really enjoy playing video games. I do spend time playing video games." And then I said, I do a little bit of fishing, and other than that, I am like really big into cars. Like I race them, I build them, I break them.
Mm-hmm.
And so he from there he was like, "Oh, tell me more about like car stuff that you do." And I was like, so I told him about the car that I own. Turns out there's two other people in the company that have one as well,
Nice.
and he's very familiar with it. And I told him like just some plans that I had and whatnot, and it was just one of those things where it's like he, so he let me finish everything. And he was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, one of the things that I always want to make sure about my employees is that they're not sitting in front of their computer screen all day, every day. Even like because we spend most of our day working in front of our computer screen. So
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, if you had just said like just video games, like I probably would have dug in a little bit more and said like you don't do anything else, you just sit at your computer all day.
Yeah.
And but I mean, that's like a real thing. Like luckily it seems like my company is like they actually care about like mental health. They actually care about us doing things with our lives.
Yeah.
As employees, like obviously they want to see the job done, and we do get the job done. but they also understand that everyone has their own life and has their own dreams and stuff. Um, I've got an employee, a coworker. He's like ranked like top 5 in the United States of like an Ironman. Uh, and they do like all the courses, like the triathlons and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like ranked number 5 in the United States,
Dang.
and he's just like, yeah, man, like this job is the only job in the world that could give me enough time to train and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And then like I got one coworker who takes she she lives in Spain for like 3 to 6 months of the year because she loves it over there. And like that she says like she just
She
loves
loves
it
to
over
hang out
there
over there.
and yeah, she just loves to hang out over there and it's like again,
So you guys
our
don't have
job.
your logins like region locked or anything?
No.
Hmm.
So we connect to each client separately. So
Okay.
like our system, we just use Google. Like we just use Google like business or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, but when we connect to clients, that's when we're actually connecting via a Citrix receiver or via a
Okay.
VPN or anything like that. So there's probably some projects that she couldn't work on.
Yeah.
But if they're, you know, our clients can range from like some of the top hospitals in the United States to um, a client that is global.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something I think that's something to keep in mind is just to like granted we do play a lot of video games. Like I didn't dig into that
Yeah.
on the phone with him, but like we do play a lot of video games. But it's just basically trying to show that
You have a
we do
life.
have lives outside
Yeah.
of work. Like, it's that was one thing that kind of caught me off guard, but
Mm-hmm.
luckily I was able to save it with the answer he wanted to hear. But yeah, it's for me, man, the interview with the employer is so much easier because the recruiter, like usually they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And
That's the
I hate to
like.
say it. I'm sorry if we have any listeners who are recruiters, but I
No,
mean,
I think that's strictly like. So the last one that I spoke to about a week or two ago, I have it on my on my resume that I'm currently not working. And they still when they called me, she was like, "Oh, like where are you working right now?" And I was like, "I'm a stay-at-home dad." And that didn't quite sink into her that that meant I wasn't working because I was at home with my children. She's like, "Well, what have you done for like the last 2 years?" And I was like, "All right, so I was doing school for a little bit, then COVID happened." And
mhm,
my wife and I decided it was best for me to stay home and watch my son
yeah,
as opposed to risking getting us sick and
yeah, definitely,
so she still didn't get it and she was like, well, try not to have a gap in your resume, because we have someone with 3 months gap and they're having trouble getting hired. And I'm like, i I know this, but
right,
also how are you not understanding that
yeah,
you
yeah,
know it's like, so I was like, okay, cool, thanks. And then I just didn't hear back from that one either. And right now I'm being a little bit less patient about the fact that she wasn't understanding. Obviously on the
yeah,
phone, I'll just answer it again courteously in a different way in hopes that you understand what I'm saying. But
right,
yeah, that's kind of rough. Um,
yeah,
so you
yeah. It
kind
is pretty
of
rough.
talked about it already because you were talking about having recruiters talk to you when you have a job. But as far as job cheating, quote unquote, or making yourself emotionally available to other employers,
Yeah,
like how do you go about that without it seeming like, oh, this guy's ready to jump ship? I guess.
right. So
Uh,
one thing I
mm-hmm.
will say is it's a lot easier than you think it is. I've been in that position probably like 2 or 3 times now where it's like and I'll use my last job as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when COVID hit, they sent us home for about 15 15 days or so, and then it was back to the office
So they
like
were just like,
100%
let's
pretty
just
much.
make sure nobody's sick real quick, and then bring them back
Yeah,
in. Wow.
yeah. So during that time, during the time of us being back in the office, people would like departments would randomly get sent home and stuff for 2 weeks and whatnot. And we had a couple people die,
Wow.
and yeah, like no kidding. Like there was a guy there who he was at risk because you want to know why he was at risk? Because his employee number was 0001. He was the first employee there.
So he was old.
He was old, but he was like not like he wasn't like crazy old. Like he was like maybe probably in his 60s. Like he had a nice
Wow.
career, like nice military career, and
Mm-hmm.
then after military a nice little government stint, like good career. Unfortunately got COVID, passed, and I'm just like looking around is like is no one like alarmed? Like does
No,
no
like
one
nobody
care?
cared.
Like yeah,
Wow.
dude, nobody. I'm telling you, man, they were still like it was like we did a moment of silence, and then it was like, we got to get back to building, building, building,
Yeah.
and which I get. Like business has to go on, right? I
But
get
this was
that, but like,
employee
can we
number
be
one.
like humans for a second? Like just for a second, could we just be humans? So that was kind of like that was pretty much what started pushing me like out,
Mm-hmm.
um, and had me start looking. But yeah, I mean, dude, I was kind of relentless, man. The coworker that sat next to me, she was hooking me up with like with her company because we worked for different contracting companies.
Mm-hmm.
She was getting me in contact with her company. I would go out to my car, hop on the phone, set my phone up, and interview right there
Nice.
in my parking lot. Um, but like the cool thing was like all these jobs and all
Mm-hmm.
these recruiters, all these contractors, everything, employers, they understood. They got it. They were like, "Oh yeah, man, we understand that we want to talk to you, but you're at work too, so yeah, just go out to the car, no problem."
Yeah.
But I found this company because I had another coworker that ended up coming to this current company,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked into it and I was like, man, this is a cheesy, cheesy company. And then I talked to the company has its own recruiter
Mm-hmm.
that works for the company. So I talked to them, and it just cheese ball, man. Like just absolute cheesy. But I could also tell like from what they were explaining, how they were talking,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, like it sounds like you guys actually care about your employees.
Right.
And on top of that, I was going from a company that had like 300 employees to a company that had like 35.
Oh.
So
Wow.
it was like, yeah, it was like, oh, it's not like you actually know, like the CEO knows my name and like I can chat the CEO if I
Right.
want to.
So
But
can you break down what you mean by like cheesy? Just so because people have different definitions of it. So.
yeah, so it was very like so there were two ladies that it wasn't really an interview. It was more so just a welcome call, like, "Hey, we want to just get to know you, and then we're gonna pass you on to like a technical interview if you pass like our vibe." It was like a vibe check almost.
Mm-hmm.
So the two ladies, they were like, "Ah, man, it's I can't think of like what they were like, but they were just moms. Like they were like
Uh.
moms. It just
So
I
basically,
don't
they
know.
were
It
like
was just
trying to let you know they'll take care of you. Is what you mean?
it was
Like.
kind of like that, and it was just kind of like we're here for you.
Okay.
You would really like it. Like there was not really much like, oh, we want. There was no like, yeah, we just want to see if it's a good fit for you. It was like, oh yeah, we could tell like you'll probably fit in perfectly here.
Mm-hmm.
So and so and so and so, blah blah blah. And then but yeah, so I did all of this while still working my last job,
Yeah.
and my last job was like it was just it was one of those things where it's like, why am I not doing this from home?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
did they know you were looking, or were you just like,
they I don't think they knew I was looking until probably a week before I put my notice in because I got like a random message from my supervisor saying, "Hey man, let's talk when you get a chance." And I was just like, "Ooh." Like
oh,
and so he was talking about like, yeah, I want to get you in some classes and get you trained up on this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems that I had with the job too, other than how they handle COVID and everything, was there was always some spectacular plan, right? There was always like a training plan or a path I was supposed to follow that
Mm-hmm.
never
Took
started, I
place.
guess.
Yeah.
So, I was with them for about little over a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, nothing they sent me to one course that entire year and a half, which was awesome. I mean, like that's great. But then things started happening where it was like, hey, I know we said we were gonna have you go down this path, but now we need you to learn this completely different thing
Something
that you have
else.
no care about.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not gonna complain about learning, so I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll go with the flow.
Right.
But then, it's like, oh, okay, we just hired a team to handle that. So now you can come back and do this stuff. And then I'm like, well, what about the stuff that I actually wanted to learn? Oh, that's not really on the docket right now. It just the whole
Yeah.
runaround thing.
Yeah. The way they were
So,
handling it was sounds like it was
yeah,
poor.
man. But yeah, dude, my coworkers who were worked for different contracting companies, man,
Mm.
they would be sending me jobs and stuff like, oh, you should apply for this. And just like other
Nice.
things. I'd be up in the office, every time somebody's about to walk by, I got minimized my page because it's like a damn
It's
application or
like it's like
something.
you're on the P Hub or something. You're just hiding it
Yeah,
from your parents when they walk
like it's like
by.
I put P Hub on purpose like that. It's like, oh, you caught me,
You got me,
but at least you
bro.
didn't catch me for applying for another job.
So about that, because I'm sure anybody that's working somewhere and looking for another job probably feels the same way. Like they have to be real careful about like their employers finding out or whatever. I don't think it's technically illegal to look for another job while you have a job. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't
I
have
don't
any like
know.
sources to clarify that, but I don't
It's
see
not a good look,
why.
I would say. It's definitely not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like if my manager walks by, or if like one of like or some other employee walks by and like sees me on like Indeed.com on during work hours,
During work,
that's
yeah, I think
yeah,
that's where you
that's not a
kind of
great
get
look.
roasted.
Yeah.
But I think as far as just trying to, because at the end of the day, man, like this company you're at right now sounds like they really care about you guys.
Mhm.
Not every company's like that.
Oh no.
You end up working for people sometimes that, their bottom line is how do I make more dollars for this company at
Yep.
your expense, even if it's at your expense.
Hmm.
So you know, I guess people shouldn't feel bad about looking for something that's going to improve their lifestyle and like just their way of living
Yeah. Yeah, and
because
that was the big thing. Even coming over here, like I'll tell you, it wasn't a big pay increase or
mhm,
anything. Like it
it's
it
just the culture.
90% of it was just the job culture.
Hmm.
And then now I get to work from home. I get to sit next to my wife every day, like while she plays games and
Ugh.
does and works on her hobbies and stuff. Like if I want to go take lunch, like I could just go and take lunch, you know?
Yeah, you don't have to be
Like
like getting a hall pass to go grab lunch real quick.
yeah, exactly. Like it's just the life is so much more full. Um,
Yeah.
if I want to work, like noon to 10, I could work noon to 10. If I want to, as long as I don't have any meetings, like I can really work whenever I want. I could log in and do some work now if I wanted to.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember like a few weeks ago, I was talking to you about something because I'm always harassing you about IT related stuff because JR rarely
yeah,
answers me. As helpful as
yeah,
JR is when he does answer, like I texted him 3 days ago. I was like, "Hey, when are you available to talk?" And I still haven't. I don't even think
uh,
he's like read it yet. I think he sees that it's me, and he's just like, he
yeah.
can wait. It's okay." Let me see. Does it even say? Because I think it doesn't even say delivered. It just has a timestamp on it.
Damn.
But yeah, it was like 9 p.m. and you were working, and like I was like, wait, this guy works from home, and I didn't ask you at the time, but I was like, in my head, I was like, why the hell would you be working at 9 p.m.?
Right,
Uh,
right.
but instead, I just asked you about what you were doing, and I was like, damn, that's actually kind of like it sounds cooked just because it was something that you hadn't done before, what you were working on.
Yeah.
but it sounded fun. And like you kind of
Hmm.
like as frustrated as you kind of seemed at it going a bit slow, like you still seemed like you were enjoying what you were learning.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's the cool thing too, where it's like I don't have anyone breathing down my back or anything. Like
mm-hmm.
it's I can work on something all night long if my heart desires, I can, you know.
Yeah.
But there's some days like this week, earlier this week, I think it was like one of the days I wasn't feeling too well, so I slept in until like maybe like 10 or 11, and I just worked later, you know.
Yeah.
It was no problem. Like I didn't have to check into an office or anything. It was
Yeah.
just
I think as long
like
as you
I
don't
got
have
the same amount of work
deadlines,
done.
yeah, as
Hmm.
long as you don't have a deadline to meet that you haven't finished something for, you're probably
Right.
okay, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of circles back to what we were talking about in the beginning, where it's just like, the whole Great Resignation
Mm-hmm.
that came from that's like a culture thing. Like people realized that they weren't being treated right at work, or that
Mm-hmm.
they weren't getting, um, well, no, basically they just weren't getting treated right at work. So why should I work here? Why should I continue to work here where I don't feel
Yep.
like I'm being treated the way I should be?
Yeah.
And
Why should you give someone loyalty that doesn't give it back to you? Basically.
exactly, and that's the whole thing where it does come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like where I am now, I'm in a happy place. I I like where I'm working. Like, would I rather just not work? Of course, but um, I have to work obviously, and fortunately, like I like where I work, so that's
Yeah.
that's good. But yeah, that's not the same for everybody. And then there's just some people it's like they're just not as fortunate, and they have to stay where they are, you know?
Mm-hmm. True. So this is the last thing that I have written down. I don't know if you had more, but
Hmm.
is it okay to just lie? Because at the end of the day, this episode was supposed to be kind of about trying to get a job in a seemingly a market where workers are in high demand. But again, I think it's depending on the industry that you work in or are trying to get
Yeah.
into. Is it okay to lie? And like, I'm not talking about like little white lies. Well, yeah, little white lies where you're like, yeah, I'm familiar with that, and then you get off the phone and you go YouTube real quick how to okay, well, what's this Windows 365 thing, and then you just find out it's like Microsoft Office or whatever, Microsoft 365.
Right.
Yeah, so uh, there's those level of lies, and then there's like the level of lies where I'm just gonna take my buddy Diego's resume and say I have all this experience that I don't actually have. Like, first of all, is it okay to lie? And then, like, where would you say someone should draw the line at lying? Because, you know, uh, with like I'm on TikTok all the time, and
Yeah.
I've phones be
Oh,
listening
don't
to
get me
you.
started on TikTok,
Phone,
man.
the phones listen to you so much because as soon as I got Security Plus and I was talking to
Hmm.
you all day about stuff, oh, all of a sudden YouTube started saying, "Oh, check IT careers and questions channel," and I started watching that guy. And then it's like on TikTok, you got people telling you stuff. And there's one guy who I'm not going to say what he does, but he's basically advocating for cheating on your on your like badges, and
Hmm.
then also pretty much straight up lying. And he made a video where because somebody commented and was like, yeah, POV, you lied to get the job, and now 2 months later you get fired or whatever, right? Because you don't know what you're
Right.
doing.
Right.
So like for me, first off, depending on what it is, if I lied about it, if it takes 2 months to get me fired, I'm not getting fired because I'm actually gonna learn
Oh yeah.
what I have to do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Well, and that's where it comes in too. So I guess to answer your question, I say I say do it.
mhm.
I mean, obviously, there's always a line. Like,
Yeah,
if you can't go on your resume and say, yeah, yeah, successful brain surgeon,
yeah,
you obviously can't do something wild
clearly,
like that. But like in
yeah,
the world of IT, I can speak to like there's probably things here and there on my resume that like even if I did it like 10 years ago, and if you put me in front of it now, like I'd still need to Google it,
You
or
don't
like I'd
quite
still need a
recall.
quick refresher.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I definitely say like one, badges, quizzes, things like that, like those accolades you can get on like your LinkedIn profiles,
Hmm.
go for it. Like
Yeah.
definitely. Because at the end of the day, you just want to get a conversation started. You want to
Hmm.
get the conversation started with these recruiters. You want to get the conversation started with these employers. Um, and then also on the job training
Still a
is
thing.
a thing everywhere
Yeah.
you go. Because no matter like I can say like I'm certified service now, right?
Hmm.
I can say that, but then I went from working on like a DoD instance to working on a private instance, or like a private company or private hospital instance.
Hmm.
Two completely different instances, two completely different processes, completely different data processes.
Hmm.
Everybody does everything different. Obviously within a line, but within like the software's capabilities and whatnot. But
Hmm.
everywhere you go, you have to be trained.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. They're like I promise you, there will probably never be a job that you go to where they're just like, all right, go ahead and do it. At least in kind of like a general IT position,
Yeah, I
right?
think that's for most things too. Anywhere that I've worked, I mean, I've
Right. And
gone. It's crazy because I hate to cut you off, but
no,
before
go
I
ahead.
lose my train of thought, when I first of all, I was active duty Air Force, right? I didn't
Hmm.
say that yet. So I went from when I was stationed in Turkey. I pretty much was running the whole like the warehouse with myself and like someone else, right? And we were covering like every aspect of it, and I had it up and down like to the T. Because if you make mistakes with that stuff, like you really get roasted like hard. So
Yeah.
you gotta
But
be on your p's and q's. I went to Japan and it was like everything was so dumbed down and so like specific that I basically I went from managing FedEx, quote unquote,
hmm
to okay, we're just packing the boxes, loading them up, and this and that, right? And when I got there, I was like, yeah, I just finished doing this for a year and a half. Like, this is pretty easy. Still needed to do some OJT. So it's like, no matter where you go, they're gonna make you do OJT because they're gonna
yeah,
make sure. Because it's called what's it called? Like onboarding, the onboarding process.
it's all part of the onboarding
Yeah,
process. Yeah,
they just have to
exactly.
make sure that like I guess legally or whatever they can say we taught you how to do this job.
Yep.
You said you knew how to do this and we went through it together. Why can't you do this yet? Basically, and you roast you if they
Yeah.
have to. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
No, I mean that's why I always say like, if it's a lie that you think you can back up, do it. I mean,
yeah,
because seriously, it's like one of those things where it's like, obviously, I'm never gonna say I'm a brain surgeon,
right.
but can I hit you on the knee and like maybe check your breathing? Yeah, yeah, sure,
Check your
I could do
breathing.
that. But like, it's just like in the world of IT, there's just so many different levels. Like if you're going for a help desk position,
Hmm.
there's only so many things that they can ask you that they can't train you about,
Right.
right? Like they're gonna have to train you on the ticketing service. They're gonna have to train you on the ticketing process. What information do they want? They have to train you on all of this
Yeah.
stuff. So really, I always put like, you put your skills on there, and that's where I like to embellish, like wherever my skills go and my past experiences go. I'll put a little, I'll throw a little stardust here and there, but like, like I on one job, like I worked with a team. I was a configuration manager, um, where really all I did was I wrote a couple SOPs, and then I ran a change control board.
Hmm.
But the way I wrote it is, oh, I led the entire department
Yep.
in weekly change control boards, managed the entire CMD uh, control management, or configuration management database. Like I just Stardust.
Yeah. Make it seem more
But
grandiose than it is.
right, and it's one of those things where it's like, is it a lie? Well, kind of, but like at the same time, like I did do
It's just your
stuff,
wording.
and also if you trained me on it, like I would just do it,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
So lie up to the point that you think you can back up the lie, basically.
yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the TikTokers kind of take it a little far. I
Bro,
watch a
that's
couple of their videos, and like I really do
TikTokers.
think, like, I get it. It is super easy to fall into the like the tech world and like the tech industry. Like it is, I
Define
think it's one of the
easy.
easier ones to get into.
But it's like
But
define easy though, because so to me, easy is like how do I all right, would you so like after I took Security Plus, right?
mhm,
I would say, yeah, it was kinda easy, but what I don't mention is the fact that I took the class, right? I went Monday through
mhm.
Friday. Every night after class, I was doing practice questions that were assigned. And then once the class was done, I did the practice questions like at least 1 to 2 times daily.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
there's a lot of work put in.
and I had flashcards that I was like, I was looking at this and that, this and that. So when I go and tell someone else, like, yeah, it's kind of easy, personally, I would take into account, like, for instance, I know you, right?
Hmm.
I kind of I can't quantify. Oh, he said it. He said it. I can't quantify.
It's like woo woo woo.
Yeah, I can't quantify like what your level of intelligence is, right? But
Right.
based off the fact that you've been doing this for 10 years, based off the conversations that I've had with you in the past, I would comfortably be like, yeah, I think it's pretty easy, and I know that you're not gonna think, I'll just take this class, not even study,
Oh.
and then go
Yeah.
pass it. I know that it's gonna be easy because you have the work ethic to study for it
Right.
and make
Right.
sure
Yeah,
you're
that's
not
actually a
wasting that
really good
money.
way.
And there's people out here that are telling the public things like, you don't have to have this cert. You don't have to have that cert.
Hmm.
All you need
That's
to
what I
do
don't
is know
agree
how to
with.
do this. And I'm like, that's bogus because, I mean, I only have one so far, but hopefully before the end of the year, if I don't have four more, then I guess I just wasted my year because A plus Network Plus is two more. Then I'm gonna get the
Hmm.
Linux Plus, and I'm really looking at CCNA, so that's four.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
man.
you can hold me
Yeah.
to that since I said it to you. Four
I
more
was
by
about to
the
say
end of
I
the
will.
year.
I'm so excited for the Linux one, man. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for that Linux one. I honestly might see if I could take that with you when you're ready for that,
Oh snap! Yeah, that'll be cool.
because I'm really excited for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I 100% hear what you're saying, because it's like, it's one of those things where like people always ask me like, "Oh, how did you get in? How did you get in?" And it's like, bro, I worked at Geek Squad.
Yeah.
Like I worked at Geek Squad, and then um honestly, I got lucky too. I'm not gonna lie
Hmm.
about that. I got kind of lucky, but like that's still, I had to put in work that wasn't what I wanted to do. Like Geek Squad is not what everybody thinks unless
Right.
you're a certain position. At
Right.
the end of the day, it's a glorified sales position, and honestly, it's a snake position too, because you've got to sell people things that they don't need
Yeah, like
time. But
TTS all the time.
yeah, all that stuff. But
So. Mhm.
yeah, to me, it's just like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like when we say it's easy to get into, it's different than when your famous TikToker says it's easy to get into.
Yeah, like
Because
you still
for
have to
us,
put
it's
in
like,
work.
yeah, you got to put in work, but they're making it seem like,
Like you
um,
don't. Like there's
oh,
just
I
this
could just,
hack.
yeah, this is the hack, right? Yeah, yeah, that's the
Here's this
greatest
hack.
thing. Like this is the hack, and it's like,
Yeah.
granted, you might be able to get a position. Like some people will get lucky and get a position that way. Like I
Yeah.
don't argue with that, but at the same time, like for me, I actually like what I do, and I
That's a
put in
big
the
part of
work
it.
for what I do, and
Yep.
also like I'm heavily motivated by like growth and money too. But like I'm heavily motivated by like the knowledge that I'm gaining too.
Yeah. And then so real quick though, since you kind of
Mhm.
like luck doesn't quite discredit the work you put in either. Like don't get it twisted cuz
Right.
Something Brandon likes to say, I forgot who actually said it, is luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So, I guess when
Oh,
I
I
spoke
like
to
that.
that, I guess when I spoke to that hiring manager, I just wasn't prepared enough, and I missed. There was like maybe that was like a lucky shot I could have had to get in, and I just wasn't prepared enough. But I mean, that's really what it is. It's like you still
I
have to
really
do
like
the
that.
prep work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like I was offered an interview
Hmm.
out of Geek Squad. I was offered an interview, and like I still went in there and like did what I had to do. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, I definitely won't discredit myself by saying I was a little lucky. But it
Yeah.
was a, I will say from
Are
now
you?
on, I think I will definitely say I had a really great opportunity and I took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's all it is. Is like when you
Yeah,
think about it, like, oh man, here's a lucky shot that I'm about to take. Are you ready to take that shot? Have you been practicing your aim? If not,
right.
you're gonna miss. Have you been like in anything in basketball? Have you been practicing 3 pointers? Because right now you're open. There's 1 second left. You just got the ball, right? Like it's the
Yep.
same. It's the same thing with everything. Like you still have to prepare for it
Perform,
yourself.
prepare and
Yeah.
perform. Sure.
Yeah, I think this is a good point. Is there anything left that you would say to the people, to the quantum
Uh,
degens?
I guess like at the end of the day, just like keep going for it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like don't. I mean, I guess in my head, it's like yeah, definitely be satisfied where you are if that's what you want, but just keep going. Um,
Hmm.
there's there's always going to be an opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
Um, a l- like I said, I've worked pretty hard in my career and to like make sure I can always just keep moving forward. I've never had to take a pay cut before. It's one of those things where you have to put yourself forward
Hmm.
and put yourself over these companies and everything because at the end of the day they're running a business and they could say how much they care about you, but we know how much they actually care about you versus the money that's going into their pockets.
Yeah. I mean, it'll
So
show too. That's gonna show
yeah,
eventually. So
exactly. So, you know, will I be with my current company for another year? Maybe. If someone calls me tomorrow and says, "Hey, we've got a job for 170K and it's remote," all right, well,
all right.
deuces.
See
I'm
you
out of
guys in
here.
two
Sorry.
weeks. Thanks for the
Yeah,
opportunity. No
yeah,
hard
and no
feelings.
hard feelings, right? Because
Yeah.
I got to do what I got to do for my family, right? So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like, if you can get in, definitely put in your work and like your opportunities will definitely come.
Yeah. And I know we talked a lot about IT just because, I mean,
But
my boy works in IT. I'm trying to get into IT, but I think a lot of these things apply to anything else, really. Anything that doesn't actually require you to have a PhD.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Put in the work, put in the hours. Nah, okay.
Okay. It's about
Oh, yeah, no, but for real, like you,
but
you
yeah,
gotta you gotta put in the work, learn as much as you can about whatever it is that you're trying to do, so that like, man, you never know. Like, you could be at the bar, you could be at like your
yes.
kid's little freaking baseball thing, and you're talking to someone, and they might be in a position where they can kind of say, oh, this guy seems pretty good for this job. And, all that prep work that you've been doing for it, it's going to help you get in over someone else that might have certs, might have degrees,
Oh yeah,
like might
definitely.
have experience even just because you've been putting in all that work
Hmm.
for it. So,
Yeah.
this was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
an
for
IT
sure.
episode, but not quite an IT episode. It just so happens that we're both kind of tech bros, if you will.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, anybody that
Yeah, I
stopped
think that's
by, appreciate it. Um, I kind of messed up. I didn't put our socials on here, so if you want to plug yourself real quick, just let them know.
I mean, you could follow me on Twitter. I think it's what is it? At senpai underscore S2K. I think it's the same thing for Instagram. Um, I would put my LinkedIn, but I don't know. It's probably just my name, but I don't know what it is. But Yeah, thanks to everybody who listened. If you made it this far, like we really appreciate it and hope it was entertaining, if not informative.
Yep. Remember, fake it till you make it, guys.
Hell yeah.
Deuces.